Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video on the channel today. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the top tight ends going into the 2023 NFL Draft. I already talked about the quarterbacks, the running backs, the receivers, the cornerbacks. So now we're going to be talking about tight ends, and then we'll finish with the defensive linemen later this week. The draft is on Thursday. Very, very excited. We're in the dog days of it. At this point, I'm just kind of waiting for it to happen, waiting, to turn on that live stream and make content for you guys. I'm so excited to talk about the draft. So I wanted to also talk about the tight ends because I think this is a very good tight end class this year. I think it's one of the better tight end classes that we've seen. There's obviously not like a Kyle Pitts type of generational prospect, but he might be the greatest tight end prospect ever. So, what draft class does have a Kyle Pitts? But I think the depth in this class is really good. If you're in need of a tight end, this is the draft to get it. There are a lot of good playmakers in this draft. We're gonna go through them. So before we get into that, make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 100, trying to hit that by draft night. And then let's get right into the video. All right, number 5. My number 5 tight end in this draft is Tucker Kraft from not San Diego, South Dakota State University. He is fast. He's tough. He's got good yards after catch capabilities. But, you'll always have question marks with FCS guys if their level of competition, allowed them to be good or if they're just a genuinely good player. I'm not saying there aren't good players from FCS, but a lot of times, some guys just take advantage of the lackluster competition. So we'll see. I could see him being a third round guy. I could see him being, maybe a guy that you get in the middle of third round if you're still in need of a tight end. But I think he's solid nonetheless. Number 4, one of my most underrated players in this upcoming NFL draft is Sam Laporta from Iowa. He's a really good receiver. He's really athletic. He was very productive at Iowa, despite having just a god awful quarterback. Iowa's defense last year was great. Their offense sucked dick and balls, unfortunately. Their quarterback was bad. So, had he had a better quarterback, I think maybe he could have done more. But with working with what he had, I think he did a pretty damn good job. Also, Iowa's pretty known for putting out good tight ends. Think George Kittle. So I have it on pretty good authority that he's going to be decent in the NFL. Next, for my number 3 tight end, and without a doubt, the most physically intimidating tight end out of everybody in this draft, that's going to be Darnell Washington, the tight end out of Georgia. He has got a big frame. I think he's like 6'7". He tested well at the combine. He had that great catch, big catch radius, really good athlete. I think sometimes, you could think that his knees might be a little stiff because he's so tall, but this is a guy, red zone's going to be unstoppable. He's going to be unstoppable, in those jump ball situations. This guy's a really, really good football player. I really like him. I could see him going back end of the first. I think the top 2 guys are going to go in the first for sure, but I think we could see Darnell Washington slip in the first, but I think at the latest he's going to go, middle second. That would be the latest that he slips, unfortunately for him. He isn't playing behind Brock Bowers. He was playing behind Brock Bowers at Georgia, so he wasn't like the number 1 tight end at Georgia, but Brock Bowers is going to be the number 1 tight end whenever he comes out. So I can't really put that against him, and that Georgia team was so stacked. Also, had Stetson Bennett throwing in the ball, which I don't think Stetson Bennett's very good. Hot take, Stetson Bennett's not a good football player, whatever. But that's the thing. And then the number 2 tight ends, pretty much everybody, I think a lot of people would agree with my 5 through 3. But my last 2 tight ends, I think you can put them in either order. Some guys like my number 2 and number 1. Some guys like my 1 and number 2. It just depends on how you slice the shit. Come on, that was a good one. That was a good joke. Anyway, my number 2 tight end in the NFL draft this year is Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid's a really good route runner, really good receiver, really good yards after the catch capabilities, but he does struggle with run blocking a lot. I don't like his run blocking capabilities. He's kind of a liability. Honestly, though, as the league pushes more and more towards these receiving option tight ends that are basically just like a 4th wide receiver out there, blocking becomes less important, but there are still a lot of teams that want to run the ball and want to run the ball effectively. George Kittle, for example, great blocker. Travis Kelce's a decent blocker. Darren Waller, is I don't know, maybe. But some of these tight ends in the league today, they need to add blocking to their game, but the receiving aspect is getting more and more important as we go on. And that is why, in my opinion, my boy Michael Myers, aka Michael Mayer, aka the killer of defenses, is my number 1 tight end in this NFL draft. Good hands, good route running, good catching, good blocking. He can block in the run and he can block in the pass. I mean, Notre Dame, they produce offensive linemen like every year. He was taught very good pass protection technique, very good run blocking technique. He's going to be a legitimate, really good blocker at the next level. And then, unfortunately, he's not as dynamic after the catch as some of these other guys, so his yak ability is a bit lackluster. But honestly, that still doesn't matter to me as much. I still think he's my tight end one in this draft class. So let me know what you guys think of these tight ends down below. What order would you have put these 5 in? I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say, and I will hear you guys and see you guys and hopefully connect with you guys in the next video. Peace out.